Here we are.
Hey, we are. Hey, you guys. I don't know. This is the first time that we've ever kind of come out on the couch. We're in the back of the store, and this is different. Thanks, James, for inspiring
lovely
to set us up back here. I wonder if the furnace is going to come on.
I think the furnace is on.
No, I mean no. Okay, you got it turned down. Awesome. So we're here this morning with Amy.
Hi.
Hi, Amy.
Hi.
We've been chatting a little bit. It's so amazing because Amy and I go to, what's really happening pretty quick, don't we?
Yeah.
We drop into, love, and talking about love and talking about consciousness and awareness really, really quickly. And I think it's like your passion.
It's definitely my passion.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to help people to access the love and access their consciousness. And
absolutely. Access love and access consciousness and access what it really means in a really deep level, from what discernment looks like and what it is to build self-esteem and to be in self, and not in a way of arrogance, but in self of a way of like encapsulating what it is to be you, and then articulating who you are in such a pure and honest way into the world, and using your mind and using your heart and using your gut and using your body and using your voice and using all of it holistically, so that when you present yourself into the world, you can do so from this like profound inner connection. Yeah.
Nice. So you were talking to me about you had a kind of a cap on how many students or how many people you could work with at this time.
No, well, not a cap. It's exciting. I'm into my second tier. So basically, as I started running my new program, so I do coaching.
Sound coaching or life coaching?
I have both.
Yes.
Sound and life coaching.
Yes.
This idea of like claiming your voice and like from everything from the inner dialogues and understanding how to work with those inner dialogues instead of trying to push them away, to how to actually articulate your voice, to how to have resonance with your voice, how to communicate your heart, how to communicate your expression, your creativity, all of that. So I did a first tier pricing, which is now done. I'm on to tier 2 before I kind of go to a baseline pricing.
Okay.
So I just finished my tier 1 pricing, which means I just got my 10th client, which is going really well.
You help people access their inner dialogue?
I help people.
So that means they go on without a filter?
No.
No?
I help them take their inner dialogue, which is usually like kind of like a whole bunch of threads. Like it's like there's this, I feel this, I'm hearing this. Like I know part of me says this, but the other thing is this. So I help them kind of like pull out the threads of the inner dialogue.
Yes.
And start to see what all of the pieces are, and then understand what motivates each piece. Right, so there's often an inner dialogue that's like could be very negative or very critical. So when we understand what's motivating it, and then we find the inner dialogue that's actually like maybe feels really profound and really true and really wise, or maybe there's anxiety. And a lot of times with people with anxiety, and I've been working with anxiety for a very long time.
Let's call it fear.
Yeah. I don't know that, for me, fear and anxiety are slightly different.
Are they? Well, I'd be interested in hearing about the difference between that.
For me, anxiety is usually, it is fear, but when you can take anxiety
so
and
it's a low-grade fear.
No, I think anxiety might be like, here's fear, and then anxiety is like how it's showing up.
Okay.
I think would be the better way of explaining. But for example, let's say I have anxiety about finances. No one, right?
Never. We're clear.
Yeah, totally. Nobody has anxiety about finances, right? So I have this anxiety, low-level anxiety of finances, and I keep going. You know what? Everything's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine, and just putting it away.
Yeah.
I find that my anxiety doesn't go away.
No.
Because my anxiety is trying to tell me something, and so when I can say, okay, my fear is. There's this part of me, there's this realistic part of me that's going, okay, how are you going to do this? What is happening? And every time I'm shoving it away, I'm not actually dealing with what's there. So the anxiety, not instantly, but often will dissipate once the attention goes into what needs to be addressed in a clear way. That isn't like a fear way, but is okay, this is a situation, now we're going to start dealing with the situation. And then there's effort put in. And so by understanding or by looking at these voices that so often people, I think, feel they're supposed to let go or release. But by looking at them and actually understanding what's underneath them, then they can start to realize kind of what they're being pulled or asked to do. So maybe it's to show up in the finances and be a little bit clearer around that. Maybe it's to show up in a relationship and realize that we're not speaking what's actually happening. You know, we feel anxiety because we aren't being honest about what we're experiencing because we feel like we shouldn't, or whatever. So that's kind of what I mean.
Or because we're afraid.
Yeah, we're afraid. We're afraid to speak our truth. Or I think there's afraid, and then there's this. I think there's this situation where people, and I mean everybody, you know, we don't even realize what we feel because we've either been told we're not supposed to feel it, or we weren't allowed to feel it, or we never really got deep enough to understand that's what it really was. You know, so like if I'm being passive aggressive, I can say, oh, that person's doing this and this. But oftentimes, if I look at passive aggressiveness from me, it's because there's this other thing over here I'm not addressing. And so once we can start to look at the voice, and instead of being like, oh, I shouldn't do that, actually try and understand what's underneath it, then we can address the root of the symptoms. And then whether it's through communication, toning, meditation.
And acceptance.
Acceptance.
Yes.
I actually have so the program I work with is called the Triad of Resonance, which is developing, which is this idea that first you have to attend to what is happening, meaning you have to be really honest about what's there, really clear with it. And meditation's great for that.
Yes.
And journaling's good for that. And then to attune. So to take that information and allow it to, not putting it out in the world like you need to fix it, but like attune to what needs to be adjusted, to tune our capacity. So whether it's tuning our thinking or tuning our voice, and then we articulate. Once we've taken the information, we've given it time to open into a wider realm of possibility, and then we can communicate.
So if you're facilitating, you could be the person that you're the person that you're working with can articulate to. You know, because it's if you've identified and you've kind of dug into it a bit and found out what's going on, and there's not always somebody to articulate to. You know, I mean, it's maybe not appropriate sometimes to take some of that to your partner.
Totally.
Because some of it's just getting it into the light of day, and it disappears anyway.
Right. You just have to like be able to look at it.
Yeah.
Before you can actually understand what's underneath it.
We can't all afford therapists.
No. Exactly.
So, you can come and speak to us.
Well, so my job basically, because with coaching and just the healing modalities is, I'll sit with people, and it's not really advice. Like I don't.
Yeah. No,
I
but
don't
you listen.
like it as advice. Yeah. It's
active listening.
Try to active listen, and then to notice what's going on in their body. So seeing where they're talking from when they're kind of escaping, and just pointing it out. Like, may I offer this? You know, I noticed that as you said this, your voice went really high, and you went over here. Is there something more to that? Would you be open to speaking about it? And if they say, no, I'm like, okay, then we move on to something else. Because the other thing I realize with voice or anything is we're only going to open at the speed we are able to open. And when there's a fear or there's a trauma, to try and push it, some people that works for, some people that does the exact opposite. You know, we want everything in our system is like, I want to do that.
I have them run away sometimes.
Yeah. So.
Because I work with people.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Often in that 12-step world that I've talked to you about. And it's deep stuff.
It's
we're banging around in the bowels of the boat for sure.
You're all up in the attic, yelling just everywhere.
And sometimes it scares the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
That's my victim story, and I'm hanging on to that. Yeah. Or whatever the story is. And so I think it's great work you're doing.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And then they get to have it come out in song or voice and and expression.
Yeah. So it depends on every client. I really like working with giving clients another method, right? So we have cognitive, which I love working in the cognitive world. I love like logical thinking, and I like that stuff. But I also find like there's certain thing that sound can do, and like calling in on like my teacher Sylvia Nakach says, first you need to open yourself to the visible and invisible teachers. And so inviting in mantra or sound is a nice way to bring more into the right hemisphere of the brain, and to allow the heart and the gut to maybe go into something that can't be explained through language. And so they can practice the singing or toning or even just certain sounds we don't let ourselves make. Oming, yeah.
Om Mani Padme Hum. Yes.
All the things.
Yes. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's lovely work. I love it. I love it.
So there's also a sense, I would think, of release that comes to who you're working with. They get to release and explore and release, and then there must be a sense of accomplishment when they get to sing, because many of us were told that we weren't very good singers. I'm projecting.
No, I agree. I think a lot of people were told that.
Yeah. My mom used to say I couldn't carry a tune in a bag. I know, it was a terrible thing, she said, and I smile when I say it now, because I can sing. And I almost sometimes sing in defiance. Fuck you. Look
at me.
Yeah.
I'm
singing like crazy.
Giving her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the voice, when I work with clients, it really ranges. So there's I do a lot on more the cognitive stuff. When we work with voice, and I get more into the actual sounding, voice is one of the most intimate places to find beliefs.
Yeah.
Every time you've been told not to say that, not to speak up, shut up, oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, you can't carry a tune. Oh, why do you talk like that? Any of that stuff. We hold it. And,
Isn't that funny? We're sensitive around it too, aren't we?
We're super sensitive, and it's terrifying for a lot of us. There's this idea that you're supposed to be able to sing like a famous singer, if you've been constantly, let's say, told or felt like you weren't allowed to speak, and all of a sudden your voice goes like this, and you start to talk more like this, and you get really quiet, and you're usually talking like this. It's like you've stopped this huge access of like body and breath and that can come through you. And so when we start to open that, we're not just opening the voice, we are opening like channels of energy and expression, and all the this like feeling of everything you haven't. I had this a while ago on like a ceremony. It was like everything that has not been said because I was too afraid.
Yeah.
And just to feel that go through you, and then to voice with like resonance, even if you're not saying it to the person, just to hear your own system say like, no, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Or yes, that's what I want.
Yeah.
To get that to move through you is huge.
Yeah. Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Like it's okay to exist. Rah, rah, rah. And then with singing, how often is like, our head is judging it the whole time. And what I love about mantra, and actually it doesn't even have to be mantra. Sometimes I'm like, sing the thing you loved singing when you were 12.
Yes.
But what I love about the intent of mantra or prayer song is that it isn't about how you sound. It is about what your heart and your gut are saying. So if your heart and gut are saying, I'm freaking terrified, I'm having a really crappy day, I don't know what to do, and you're just letting yourself put that out, like I'm offering it.
Yeah.
Or, I love you so hard, thank you, thank you, thank you, and you're offering it. It's about the authenticity of what's being expressed, not the sound of it. And I will work with people to help them kind of hone in their capacity to, I want to say channel or manage like the voice, because the bigger your voice, the more you find, the more there is to like, okay, well now how do I use this in an effective way?
Yes, yes.
So it's both of that. First you got to pull it out. Like when I learned to sing, in some ways I think it was great, and sometimes I think it was hard, as you've heard me, I can be very loud. I have a very big voice. And
big and beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Sometimes it was just big. When I was a little kid, I just was going to sing the loudest. It wasn't necessarily very good. But that meant I had to learn more about how to use it and when to use it. And so as we access our voice, it's like we're accessing a power inside of us. And with more power, very like Marvel, more power, more responsibility. How do we want to use that? Nope. We're getting wires shifted. Yeah. So how do we want to use the expression of our voice? And some of us are going to be more quiet, and we're going to express in a quieter way, and some of us are going to be louder, and we're going to express in a louder way. But ultimately, I think we all want to do it in a way that is both respectful and honest.
Yes. Nice. I think it's beautiful work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Anything I think that helps people become more conscious, allows us to wake up. Yeah. To how we've been living in our conditioning, or how we've been living in fear, or how we've been living in what we think people want us to be, and we can wake up to being who we are.
Totally.
through through what you're giving people.
Yeah.
And so we're very much on the same page.
Totally.
Awakening the planets. And
I think we
beautiful.
talked about this before, but like if you look at a guitar and you pluck it, like if there was just a guitar string with no guitar, you pluck the string, it wouldn't do much.
No.
But because of the way the body is shaped, it raises its resonance, right? Like it gives it its voice. And I feel like, meditation, the work that I do, a lot of the work that happens here, the ecstatic, all of these different ways of basically cultivating our body and our system and our heart and our gut and opening the entire system for our soul's resonance so that we resonate in ourselves and in like greater self. We bring what we bring into this planet, and then together we raise the resonance. We raise the strength, the grace, the beauty, the intelligence.
Nice. So yeah, it's good work.
It's
So,
great work.
I suspect that everything that we're talking about is going to be magnified big time in the workshop you're doing with Alice in Bali.
Yeah.
So people have thrown themselves into this opportunity to really awaken,
Yes.
to discover themselves and reshape and
Totally.
yeah.
And Bali is like the best guitar ever for resonance. like the body of Bali, like
Yes.
the environment of Bali is a beautiful place to find your resonance
Yes.
and to like both be so deeply healed and
Yeah.
and moved.
Been my
And,
experience, yes.
Yeah, understand. So yeah, we're running a retreat in Bali on April 20th to 27th. There's still a few spots left, and we've got a really great crew coming together.
Nice.
Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful retreat,
Yeah. Oh.
and working with Alice will be just lovely.
I just like to say to those of you who are watching, if you haven't, well, even if you have been to Bali, like to go to Bali and be involved with a group like this, although there's no such thing as a group like this, but to be involved with in awakening, in an environment that's completely set up for that is an amazing experience. My first trip to Bali in '94 was for a consciousness awakening group, and we were in the compound, if you will, for nonstop for like 27 days.
Yeah.
Like nonstop.
Wow.
And it was amazing. There was only 35 of us, and it was so life changing. And the teacher was, he was had been many years with Osho, and he really took us on a ride.
That's amazing.
But it's also the environment of Bali is conducive
Totally.
to that happening. And there's an energy there in Ubud that's yeah.
It's magic.
Yeah, and you can't find that anywhere. So to do this work in that energy is, I recommend it.
I agree. I mean, I think it's really profound. Well, hopefully,
Yes.
I think it's really profound to do work here. Like I think it's really profound for me to every day wake up, get up, do my practices, all of that, and to do it in life. I think that's important. I also find that going away and putting, at least in my own experience, putting myself in a situation for a week or a month that was completely outside of my normal world and allowed me to step away from all of my regular triggers, all of my conditioning.
Yep.
Those moments have made, in those periods of times, I have had impacts that have, I feel like revolutionized is a lot, but to some degree revolutionized my life. Like the first time I went to India, I was there for 3 months. That changed the entire trajectory of my life. It's like I went from here to here.
Yes.
And the last time I was in Bali, it was more subtle, but there were certain things that happened while I was away, and things that I'd been working on for years that were like, it was the breaking point. It shifted it.
They popped.
They opened, and it was like it just needed. It's not that all that work didn't matter; it was necessary, but it was like in that space, there was this profound opening into possibility.
Yes.
And to experience that something is possible beyond what my mind can even conceive as possible right now.
Of course, because there's that.
Because
you don't know
until you don't know. Totally. And so it's like, oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that exists. That's a life. That's
Yes.
a way of being. But
Yeah. Nice.
we can do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
It's beautiful.
How many will be in this group, do you think?
It's going to be. I think it's going to be pretty intimate. I would love to see it hit about 10 to 12.
Yes.
Would be ideal.
Wow.
Yeah. But I think right now we're at 6 or 7.
Yes. Oh, for sure. It's going to hit 12.
12 would be the dream. I love
Wow.
12.
That's very intimate.
Yeah. I have to be honest. I don't.
Excuse me.
I mean, I would love to have trainings with 30 people financially, but to be honest, 10 to 12 people I find is a really great number, because in that number of people, every person speaks and is heard.
Yes.
Once you start getting over that, and that's the same like group therapy or anything, once you get over that, there will be people that always dominate the conversation, and there will be people that never talk. And so I know Alice and I both really want there to be space for some really true connection. So having
everybody really gets to fall in love with each other too.
Totally.
Themselves and each other.
Well, and like I've watched in groups, like I've watched friendships happen that have lasted,
forever.
decades.
Yeah. That group in '94, I'm still friends with people from that group that happened in '94. I mean, that's coming up it's 25 years ago.
It's very special.
And I'm still in relationship with people who were in that group. That's really pretty cool, isn't it?
That's so special.
And so yes, I agree that you build relationships that last for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And in those intimate possibilities.
Yeah. And you get to have sorry if that's going to cut you off. You get to have a relationship with somebody who doesn't have a frame around you. So we all have tendencies. We all have you have friendships or life, family dynamics are the hardest because they've seen you through everything. And to get to be in a situation where somebody doesn't have a framework around you also allows you the opportunity to show up differently.
Yes.
Right? Because if I see you and I have this idea around you, and every time I see you, there's this belief, it's really hard for you to overcome my belief, because we have mirror neurons, right? Like you sense it, I sense it, and we believe it. It's like when two people get in an argument and they're both doing the same thing, like, oh, you're being a hypocrite, well, you're being a hypocrite. It's like they just start mirroring each other. Whereas once you can, when you can step into it with somebody and there isn't a framework, you get to access a part of you that you're like, oh, this is me without that way of being. That is actually possible. I love that.
So
that's how I feel about that.
how we shift, isn't it?
I'm like, yay.
My teacher Paul used to say, remember that you don't know anybody. And if you meet your friend, he's not who he was. So every day to see you as new, and have that as my conditioning, as opposed to, oh, I know her, because I don't know you. I know your name and I know some things about you, but we don't know each other, because in this moment when we're together, we know each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's you, this new Amy, and
it's like holding a space for possibility.
Yes, yeah, and not being in that place of thinking we know, and then holding each other in a limiting belief sometimes, in a small place, and as opposed to holding each other in an expanded place.
That's a thing, hey? Easy breezy.
Yeah,
Some practice.
I know. Well, if we talk about it from time to time, it's like, oh yes, okay, I don't know James.
Yeah. And even just holding the possibility of we do have tendencies. We all do. We all have shapes, and it's fine, when we're supporting each other to know, oh, that person really appreciates that. But to have a place where you can come back to it and actually examine it and go, does this actually fit anymore? Because we're evolving, constantly evolving. I'm not who I was 5 years ago. I'm sure you're not who you were 5 years ago. I'm sure James isn't who he was 5 years ago.
I don't even know who I was 5 years ago. I don't even know who I was yesterday, and which is neat. I think it's exciting.
I do too.
But the whole idea of us really wanting to know. Anyway, I won't go there. So you're going to come.
I am. April 5th, I think. Is that what we decided?
And play for our community again.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
We did, it was about 2 weeks ago you were here.
Yeah.
And it was our first event in this space, and it was so good.
It was.
Wasn't it
my
great?
face hurt from smiling.
Yeah.
Like that night I went home and my cheeks were sore.
Yeah.
It was such a great crew. It went so deep.
Everybody
and so
sang.
full.
Yes.
It was really amazing.
Yeah. So we're going to do it again, and I really appreciate that you're going to make time to come
I
and,
love it.
and sing with us.
Yes.
Not for us, but come
with us, for us, all around the
to
things,
us.
Yeah. To you. Yeah, I'll probably do a little bit different. I might bring a little bit of my loop pedal stuff and create
different.
some big sonic-y
I
stuff.
have no expectations.
It'll be awesome. I promise that.
Yeah,
It'll be something.
Except I do expect you to show up.
Yeah, with show up, be prepared. You know that stuff.
But no, whatever happens will be really, really super. We're looking forward to putting it out. And then the next night, on the 6th, you are
I'm going to join my friends Freak Motif for a song or maybe several at the Cirque de Nuit show at the Palace.
Wow.
Yeah, so it'll be super fun.
Cirque de la Nuit.
Cirque de la Nuit.
Cirque de la Nuit, which is Circus of the Night, right?
Yeah, they're an incredible crew.
Yeah, they are an incredible crew. They've been doing Cirque de la Nuit for, I'm going to say, 10 or 12 years.
I don't know. It's been a while.
And I remember going in the basement at Dickens Pub. Were you ever there?
No.
At Dickens Pub, and they did it there, and I went to a couple of events there, and they were so much fun. And then at the back alley, I call it, but it's not the back alley.
No, the
anymore.
Marquee.
It's called the Marquee. They did it there, and you've done it before with them in the Palace.
I did. Well, I was in a group called Ethoterra for a while, and we were doing like Sacred Story, and so a woman named Tanya Lee was doing a lot of like the dance, and there was like a whole lot of like the Cirque crew, and I was doing some music, and yeah, it was amazing. We put on a crazy show, so that was really fun. And then I think that was 1 or 2 years ago, and then I think a year before that, my friend who's in Freak Motif, they had a big show at the Palace, and he calls me at 5:30. I was like, hey, you want to come do a song with us? And I was like, yeah, sure. Where are you playing? It's like the Palace. He's like, okay, what am I doing? He's like, just freestyle. So I get there I got there at 7, I think 7:30. We're on at 7:30. It's 1,000 people. Wow. And it was me jumping on stage and being like, how's everybody doing tonight? Like, I've never done that. I was a folk artist. It was so much fun, like jumping up and down, and like, it was so fun. And so I'm gonna do a song with them, or a few songs with them.
Wow.
At this coming up show. Yeah, Freak Motif is rad. They're a great crew.
Super fun. They play around Calgary?
They do. They just had a CD release, and I know they have some shows coming up, some kind of big ones that aren't released yet, so I'm not allowed to say anything, but they got some good ones coming up.
So maybe we'll tag them.
Yeah, you absolutely can tag them. That would be great.
And we're going to tag the Cirque du Nuit. If you don't have tickets,
I think
get tickets.
Yeah, April 6th, so that'll be great.
It will be a sold out event. And it'll be crazy because we can all dress in costume, can't we?
Yeah, it's a totally costume, and it's like this whole Alice in Wonderland theme.
Yeah, is it? That's the theme? So, I can wear my tutu?
Yeah,
just kidding.
You can wear your tutu. Rock the tutu. If anyone has an extra tutu. I don't have a tutu.
Okay. If I'm in a tutu, you won't know who I am.
Yeah.
Totally in disguise.
And then we'll be here on April 5th, which will be amazing.
Yes.
You can also get tickets for that.
Yes, get tickets for that. And
I'm glad we did that before the other one, because the other way around could have been a problem.
What? Yeah.
If I had done the Cirque de Nuit show and then this, I might not have a voice. So
yeah,
we'll arrange it well.
And also there's an opportunity to go to Bali.
Yes, there is. Please.
Right up to the last minute, really, almost. Bali tickets. I had a friend go to Bali last week, and his tickets on the same airline that I take, he went on China Air, were like $900.
I got mine for $1,000. Yeah.
Yeah, like.
It was
crazy.
Totally decent.
And so you can go to Bali for like $1,000 and do this group. And I want to recommend, don't even consider going for less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They don't even consider going, and always go 2 or 3 days before a group starts. Yeah. Right?
Well, and the other thing is, if you are interested in coming, like, let us know. So you can contact me and contact Alice. Alice is actually there already doing a retreat, so feel free to contact me because she's pretty busy for the next week. But let us know, and we can help you find like a driver, and like there's a whole beautiful guide Alice put together on where to eat, where to stay, how do you get a ride, what do you need, what kind of documents do you need. Canadians don't need a special visa. That's a really big thing I think people need to know, and like we make it as easy as we possibly can for you. And I was floored. Like the first time I went to Bali, I couldn't believe how easy and lovely, and just it was like I arrived and my heart smiled. Like really big.
Yeah, it's really set up. So you do get a visa at entry.
Yeah.
And
for 30 days.
Yeah, at least get 30 days.
Yeah.
Because you always stay longer.
Yeah, totally.
And at least I do. It's hard to get out of there.
It's hard to leave.
And it's easy to forget about Canada.
Yeah.
It is. So what else? Are you gonna?
What else?
Can you show us how this works?
Yeah, the little shooting box is my friend Steven lent me this little thing, and I've been playing it more regularly. The idea of not knowing what I'm going to sing.
What's the date of the retreat?
April 20th to 27th. Yeah. Yeah. So the idea with
Squeeze
this,
box.
it's a shruti box. And so I set like the key here.
Mm-hmm. Can you guys see this? Can they see it?
Yeah. So this would be like an E flat and a. I have to look.
Mm-hmm.
Is that B flat? I think. Yeah. And then.
You want to sing a little Leonard Cohen?
I don't know what I'm gonna sing. I don't know how it's gonna go.
You sing Leonard Cohen, I'll sing with you.
It's hard on this one because I don't know the notes.
Okay.
So generally with this, we'll play it, or I'll play it, and then I'll just see what sounds come out.
No. Yes.
And the idea of like closing eyes and just feeling into what is being pulled. Lovely voice.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. I'm falling in love with it. He, my friend, very sweet. He's actually in India with Sylvia Nikach and going and studying like the ragas and stuff. He's a lovely human, and he lent me this because he's like, it needs to be played. And I was like, I will play it.
Beautiful.
I will love it. I will play it. With the coaching and stuff, I'm setting up a room that has all these instruments and stuff, so that when people want to explore voice, they have a space to do it in my house. And it's got great acoustics, and so it's been played in there and kind of baptizing the space before it becomes that.
Very sweet. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Coming and sharing your love. And you know,
you.
it's all about the love, isn't it?
It's all about
love
the love.
heals.
All about the love.
And thanks for what you're doing, you know, for our town, for our community, for our world, you know, bringing your voice and your love in people's lives.
I also wanted to mention, if it's okay, March 23rd, I'm going to be doing a workshop called Claim Your Voice at the Yoga Passage.
Nice.
And that's going to do a little bit of sounding and toning, but also a lot with just communication and understanding our truth and then learning how to communicate it.
Okay.
So if anybody's interested in that, please check out Yoga Passage. You can
we'll tag it,
through there.
and hopefully we'll get, if we tag it Yoga Passage, we'll maybe put this on there. They have in the past.
That would be amazing.
They let us post on their page.
Beautiful.
And, so Yoga Passage, we love you.
Yes, we do. Falling Beyond, we love you.
Falling Beyond. Project Awakening.
We love you.
It's all happening. Some really, really cool stuff is happening for us. We've kind of we had this amazing fella who you just saw wandering around here, who is this really high-level marketing guy, has been for years and years, and he and I have been talking for a year. He's watched it all evolving and coming together for over a year, actually. And just last week he said, okay, I'll come and help. And he really has the ability to help us get to the next level in a way for what we want to do. We see ours, I really see the vision of creating meditation spaces in every home.
I love that.
And you know, and I know that I can't do it alone. You know,
it's a big place, the world.
It's a big place. Well, I know
we
that
need help.
I need a lot of help, and finally he's shown up. You know, and other people. James is here, and he's as committed as I am, and Kat's with us, and she's committed. And
you got a good team.
And I see us in 6 months from now having the team will be double that. You know, so I actually could be in Bali when you're there.
Oh, very cool.
Or before, because I need to go and put together my next order for all the things that we bring here for the meditation spaces. And
beautiful.
Yeah, so hopefully I get to see you guys.
That would be amazing.
And it'll be. I always say this. Oh, I'll do it in a week, but I never do.
No. Yeah, no one does.
No one does.
3 week for me is 3 week minimum. And I'm like, can I stay longer?
Yeah, I tried to do 18 days. Okay, 18 days, but so it's happening, and I'm pretty excited about it. And thanks to, we've so many people are watching our videos, and they're showing up. Like the 3 ladies that were here just as you came in.
Yeah.
Were from Medicine Hat, and. They came here for yoga teacher training this weekend, but one of the ladies had been watching our videos for a long time, and she drugged them all over here.
I love that.
And it was really, really cool. And so it's happening. We're grateful for that, and you're part of that.
Yeah, I love being a part of it, and I love what you guys are doing here. Like I love watching. Are you guys still doing the dancing on Sundays? Is that
Sunday morning.
Sunday mornings.
Actually, this Sunday was our first.
Yeah,
and it went well. We had a nice little crew, and we can see it expanding for sure. And we also see, we might look at a Friday night, 2 or 3 hour kind of a sober dance, so with intention that we all come here and be really present and not,
not get wasted and dance.
Yes.
Actually come and dance.
Come and dance and be
Use
here.
dance as the thing to intoxicate us.
Yes, get high on the dance.
Get high on the dance.
And so we're talking about that on Friday nights, but Sunday morning is really, really cool. We had we're doing 9 till noon. We did this week, but we've discovered that maybe 3 hours is
a little long. That's fair.
So we're going to do 2. It's not 2 hours of dance, though. We're doing check-in.
Yep.
So people get to share. We do a little confidentiality thing so that people feel safe, and so it's a little. And we're not doing any, no feedback. We're just letting folks. Get it out. And
the second I have a Sunday morning free, I'm here. As soon as I saw that on your guys' site, I was so excited.
So this Sunday there was a great group, and there was some emotion.
Yeah.
People got to speak about their lives, and we all need to share and talk about what's happening. And sometimes there's no place to do that.
Yeah.
And so Sunday mornings are a place you can do that, and then we dance, and our intention is to also have a short meditation after.
Beautiful. I love that. Cool.
Yeah. So thanks, you guys. We love you.
Thank you so much.
And that's a lot of info
James.
that we gave you today.
Yeah, all of the things.
Because Amy has a full life. And
you guys have a full life. It's full. Purna everywhere.
Yeah, well, I want to, my dream, people talk about retirement. I want to skid into the finish line all used up. You know what I mean? Whenever
it's like, take me, I'm done.
Whenever it's,
nice.
At the right time, I'm just going to skid into the finish line and say, yes, here we go.
I love it.
That's my vision of leaving the planet one day. Anyway, so let's stay in the game, right?
Yeah, I haven't had that vision. I just know at 95 I'm going skydiving. That's the only plan I have.
All right. Well, that's a good vision.
Yeah, totally.
It's a great vision.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Love you guys.
Yes.
Cheers.
Love you. Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Bye.